to WomanVision TV. I'm Nadia Giordana. I am so excited about today's guest, Gail Roddy. She is a talented woman who performs a one-woman play at selected venues around the Twin Cities metro area. Calling All Women to the Well is a deeply personal exploration of what so many of us experience and internalize as girls and young women. Today, Gail will perform for us 2 vignettes from her play for us to enjoy. Let's go see Gail.
You know, there is nothing really new under the sun. Women need community in order to thrive. Why is this subject so important that I'm speaking about it today and every day? It's because hearts are hurting. So many of us feel isolated. Our voices are not heard because we feel we shouldn't speak, that no one will want to hear what we have to say. That's why it's so important, community, for women to come together and speak with one another face to face. Multi-generation community, the way it used to be when I was a girl. Because you see, women teach girls to be women. We teach one another and we learn from each other throughout our lives, from childhood to our elders. It's so important, that connection, especially today with Facebook, Twitter, text messaging. Those things are wonderful, but they do not connect in the way that women communicate and connect. So how do you have a healthy friendship with other women? Is this something you would be interested in talking about? Is this something you have? Good. So what are some of the characteristics about a healthy friendship? I'd like to share a story with you, a 3-part story about a friendship that has endured most of my life. It began when I was 10 years old. You remember 10, don't you? Let's see, that's about 3rd grade. You've got all your permanent teeth in pretty much by then. 3rd grade was fun for me. 10 years old was fun for me. I was a happy little girl at 10. So I met a new girl at school. She came into our school in 3rd grade. She was so shy. She would hardly speak to anyone. Just a beautiful little girl. I can see her to this day. Braids with white and pink barrettes in her hair. And she wore the cat-eye glasses we used to wear in the 60s that were white with little rhinestones. And you remember those glasses? They were so fun. And so we became friends. I think it was her shyness that attracted me to her. She was just like me. She was shy, and oh, she lived just a block away. And so we would get together and walk to school, and we would whisper and giggle, and we had so much fun. And then after school, it didn't end. We would ride our bikes around the neighborhood. We had the bikes of the 60s with the little baskets in front and the ribbons coming out of the handlebars. You remember those, don't you? Oh, we had so much fun. She became my best friend. And we would have sleepovers together. And one night, Mom taught us how to bake cookies. Oh my goodness, what did Mom do that for? One night, my best friend and we made enough cookies to feed the whole neighborhood. We were exhausted, but oh, we had so much fun. And playing jacks. Jacks was our favorite. You remember playing jacks? The little red ball, and you would throw it down and pick up the jacks, 1 and 2s and 3s. Oh, I remember being 10 so much. And there was one other thing about being 10 that I loved. I had a secret that I loved about myself and didn't share with anyone. Because, you know, even at 10, I knew that I couldn't tell my secret to just anyone. It had to be heard by someone who loved me so much. So one day, I decided to tell my friend my secret. Oh, I get to tell my friend my secret, and it was so exciting. And I told her one day, and I whispered my secret in her ear, and I was so excited, And my friend said, "Liar. You stop that, Gail. That's not true, and you know it. Nothing like that ever happened to you. If you ever tell me something like that again, I won't be your friend anymore." My friend didn't believe my secret. What do I do now? I was horrified. And I was also 10 years old. I didn't know what to do. The secret was out now. I couldn't take it back. So you know what I did? I did nothing. I still loved my friend. That didn't change. Although I wondered now, did she love me? Time passed. A couple of years went by. Now we're 12. You remember 12, don't you? You're a little bit more mature, starting to question the world around you, especially if you're a girl. I don't know what boys did, but by 12 years old, I was starting to go, I wonder if that's true, what mom and dad and teachers said to me. I wonder. So one day my friend and I are walking home from school, and she started to cry. And I said, "What's wrong, my friend?" She didn't want to talk about it. It took 3 more blocks before she would tell me. "I have a secret too," she said. "What is it?" My friend's secret was not a nice secret like mine was, or what I thought was a nice secret. My friend's secret was someone was hurting her. She didn't want me to tell anyone. "Oh, but we have to tell. We have to tell someone." "No, please, please, we cannot tell anyone." "Okay, I know what we'll do. You know Mrs. Johnson, our English teacher. She's so nice. Let's tell her. I'll go with you. Let's tell her your secret, and then everything will be okay." And you know what we did? We did tell Mrs. Johnson, and things did become okay. I was so happy that I was my friend's friend, because I don't know where she would be today if someone who hurt her hadn't been told to stop hurting her. That's what friends do. That's when I learned the first characteristic of friendship is trust. Trusting one another with anything. What a valuable lesson that I take with me to this very day. The years went by. Now my friend and I are just thick as thieves. We're 16 now. You remember 16, don't you? Oh, what a time that was. The hormones raging. The zits. The hair that just wouldn't behave. Everything about 16 was pretty strange, if I remember correctly, at least for me, because I wasn't one of the popular girls, and neither was my dear friend. We wanted to have a boyfriend at 16, as many young women do. Alas, the boys did not like me or my friend. You remember Popeye, the sailor man? He had a pipe and used to eat spinach by the cans because it made him strong. Remember Popeye's girlfriend? That's right. olive oil. Remember what olive oil looked like? She was about this big around all the way down. She had a long, skinny neck and knobby elbows and knees, and she wore her hair back in a bun. I looked like olive oil. And the boys believed what the magazines said about what a young woman's body should look like. They didn't know any better, so they weren't attracted to me. My friend was just the opposite. She was a little chubby and short. And once again, the boys wanted the magazine girls. They didn't want olive oil and Little Miss Chubb. We were not considered attractive by the boys who knew no different. So my friend and I couldn't change our bodies. So you know what we decided to do? We decided to change our minds. We went to the library and we looked up books on subjects we knew nothing about. Trigonometry and algebra and Arabic and French, parlez-vous français? And together my friend and I studied those books and we laughed and we had the best fun. We didn't even know what trigonometry was. But we went together and we studied them. And we had the best time changing something that we could change and loving each other when there was something that we could do nothing about. 16 was when I learned loyalty. No matter what your friend looks like, it's her heart that you're loyal to. Second lesson I learned about friendship. Now my friend and I are older. We're 22. We're in college now. And oh, we are growing up into young women. She went to a college in St. Paul, Minnesota. I didn't join her there. I went to another school. Perhaps you can guess which school I went to. Yes, I attended the University of Minnesota. I was a college student and I loved being in school learning. I loved learning. The university was pretty daunting. Have you been out to the University of Minnesota campus ever? It's huge, a huge place. But I loved being there. I think being an introvert, I almost liked being incognito, not having too many people know about me. That I could come and go as I pleased and not have a lot of scrutiny. I was still a little bit shy, but now I'm learning I was more of an introvert. But my friend and I shared an apartment. You remember that first apartment? Whether you went to college or just started working right out of high school, that first apartment was everything, wasn't it? Especially you usually shared it with a friend. Those were the days when sometimes 4 girls shared a 2-bedroom apartment. All the fun of it. And now you're away from mom and dad in your own place. You get to do whatever you want to do. Funny thing we found out though was that rent at the first of the month. That's the thing we forgot about. That was a little bit challenging, but it was still fun. So my friend and I, we started dating. I started dating a nice guy. And one day she came home and introduced Aaron to me. He was very handsome. And he was kind of shy too. I noticed that he never looked me in the eye. He would always say, "Hey, Gail, how you doing today?" He would never look me in the eye. I didn't think too much of it, but I asked my friend, "What's up with Aaron not looking me in the eye?" "Oh, he's just shy, Gail." Oh, okay. That made a lot of sense. So a few weeks went by, perhaps even 6 weeks, I don't remember exactly. But one evening, my friend came home from school. I was already there. She rushed in and she did this. She had a beautiful engagement ring on her hand. And I said, Wow, that's kind of fast. To myself, I said that. But of course, I was happy for my best friend. She was going to be married in a few months. He seemed like a nice guy, and I was happy for her. I was going to be her maid of honor. So we were planning the wedding. And one day, I was out at the university, and I was sitting down on a bench, studying. It was a bench on the outskirts of the campus. And all of a sudden, a beautiful, tall African-American woman walked up to me. And she asked, "Do you mind if I share this bench with you?" "Of course you can." So I went back to studying my book. She wanted to talk. She talked about how she was 19, a freshman, how she loved the university, and she was so excited, so thrilled about everything, that I asked, finally, "What is it that has you so excited? You clearly are happy about something." She had a diamond ring and just got engaged last night. How wonderful. "What is your fiance's name?" "Aaron," she said. "How interesting. What a coincidence. My best friend's fiance is named Aaron. Where is your fiance from?" "Chattanooga, Tennessee." Oh no, my friend's Aaron is from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Could that be a coincidence? It can't be. It can't be. These women were engaged to the same guy. What do I do now? What do I do now? If I go home and tell my friend that she is being lied to and deceived, she may call me a liar again. I can't handle that. What do I do? What do I do? What would you do? I went home and I said nothing. My friend and Aaron married, and 6 months after the wedding, she called me and said she just filed for divorce. Because once they were living together, he couldn't hide himself anymore. It took us many years to talk about that situation. But when we talked one day, my friend taught me compassion. She said, "I wouldn't have believed you anyway, Gail, because I didn't like myself very much at that time. I didn't trust myself. He said he wanted to marry me, and I believed if I didn't marry him, no other man would." "Oh my goodness, are you kidding me, woman? You're the finest woman I've ever met. How could you believe that about yourself?" She put her head down and she said, "Gail, I didn't need you to say that to me. I'm no longer that girl. I just needed you to hear me with compassion." That's when I learned that friendships, learning about trust, loyalty, and compassion never end in a woman's life. They go on until the day we die. Thank you. You know, this is my purpose in life, is calling women together, calling all mothers to the well for community, the way women have been forever. You know, you've seen the pictures of women at the well in ancient times. Didn't you ever wonder what women talked about? Well, let me tell you. Let me take you back to when I was 20 years old and going to the University of Minnesota. I'll never forget, it was spring break. And every spring break at that time was right around Easter. And Easter was when they showed Cecil B. DeMille's The 10 Commandments. They're still showing it, that 1950s flick about Moses. I loved this movie. And I loved one part of it that you may remember. When Moses crosses the desert and he's just devastated, starving and hungry, and he gets almost to what is a well that he doesn't know about, he passes out. And along come a group of sisters. I think it was 7 or 8 sisters. Moses ends up marrying the eldest sister, remember? But the women are gathered at the well to draw water, because that's what you had to do in ancient times. There was no going in the kitchen turning on the faucet. You went to the well each morning. One bucket went down at a time to draw up the life-giving water for the community. So while they were there, women talked, because that's what women do. Only for a few minutes, because you had to get back to camp with this water. There were children who needed to be fed, there were clothes that needed to be washed, there were elders that needed to be taken care of. So that scene always bugged me, because it seemed like it was portrayed a little bit too frivolous. So over the years, I've had this fantasy. Let me show you. Hi, my name is Gail, and I live in Minneapolis. I'm a college student. Is this the office of Cecil B. DeMille? You know, creator of the movie The 10 Commandments? Yes. I was wondering, is Mr. DeMille there? Might I speak to him? Okay, thank you. Hi, Mr. DeMille. Oh, thank you for taking my call. You know, I just wanted to talk to you about something. I go to the University of Minnesota. I'm 20 years old. What's that? Oh, why, yes, I am one of those 20-year-old college students who thinks she knows everything. Mr. DeMille, I just wanted to ask you about your movie, The 10 Commandments. You know that scene where Moses comes and passes out just before he gets to the well, and his future wife is there? Mr. DeMille, I gotta tell you, you played that scene all wrong. Women don't talk that way when they get together. Let me tell you what women do. The child within my womb moved for the first time this morning. I'm so excited. My son went with the men on the hunt this morning. I'm so proud. My grandmother is very ill. She will not live much longer. I'm so sad. A dream I had last night told of doves flying in the air. What do you think that means, my sisters? I'm so in awe. These are the kinds of things women talked about at the well. These are the things they shared, the things of their heart. So, Mr. DeMille, if you ever do another version of the 10 Commandments, be sure you add women's true voices. Thanks so much.
Hi, today I'm making sun-drenched cod. It's my favorite way to have this fish. Cod is such a firm and flaky fish, you don't need to do a lot to it to end up with a really good dish. I'm making a small amount today. Now the recipe that I will be putting on the screen will be for 4 servings. But I have a little bit less that I'm making here today because it's just my husband and myself having dinner tonight. I've got some frozen but thawed fresh cod in a lightly oiled dish. And you don't need to watch me chop onion and fry it in a pan. I've done that ahead of time already to make a shorter video here today. This is a little bit of onion, some garlic, and some finely chopped kale that I've sauteed in butter. Now, if you don't have kale for this, you could use parsley. That's what most people, I think, would use, but I put kale in almost everything. It's a superfood, you know. So I put this in here onto the fish. Like I said, this is real simple and easy. The hardest part is chopping the onion and garlic and frying that up. So I've got this in here over the fish. I've got a little bit of orange juice, hence the name sun-drenched cod, which I put in over the fish. A little bit of lemon juice. That goes in here. Some salt. A little bit of pepper. And I think I need a little bit more salt. And a little bit of grated, freshly grated lemon rind. We'll cover this, and I'll show it to you first. We'll cover this, put it in a 375-degree oven for only about 20 to 25 minutes. And as soon as that's ready, I will come back and show you the finished fish. Here it is, all finished. It looks beautiful. We're ready to serve.